All right, Woozy here with Neo Worlder, and today we are going to be talking about the lead recovery specialist skill. Um, just preference this video. If you haven't seen any of the videos on onboarding or the invisible flow, I suggest you check those out. They kind of go through the process of what our onboarding flow looks like and how an individual can basically be invited through email and then quickly sign up for their own persona who can then utilize these skills. So check those out if you haven't yet. But for today, let's jump right into our lead recovery specialist. So this skill is basically designed for you to be able to export your older lost leads from your CRM or wherever you're storing them, and then basically give them to your persona so that they can start a months-long email campaign to slowly try to get these leads back engaged at the right time for when they're back into the real estate market. So like I said, your job here will be basically to export the old lost leads and submit them to the persona. The persona is going to start I think it's a 15 email cadence over a span of about 180 days in order to just get any engagement. If the lead responds at any time, the persona then will take over in that conversation and try to then engage with them to turn them into a qualified customer. If it does become successful in getting that qualified customer, that's when then it's going to send you basically a handover email back. This handover is a summary of the conversation that's been going on with this lead, and then basically the persona's explanation of why they think you should take over this conversation. This first handover will be the redacted version, and then basically you can read the conversation summary and see the intent. If you like it, you can accept it. That's when our outcomes-based billing comes into effect, and you'd actually pay for that. If you don't want it, or if you think it needs more qualified, you can kind of go that route as well until it gets to the qualification where you read it and you think that that's a good lead that you want to take over. So for today, let's go ahead and dive in. I've got a persona that I've gone through the invisible flow and selected already that we'll be demoing with, and I'll be acting as the real estate agent in this case. I've created just a few fake leads that we can submit and watch in. I've tried to mock what a real export from a CRM might look like here so that we can follow along with that. I'll show you some best practices on list cleanup and submitting them into your persona, and we'll kind of just show you how to actually get that first list up and running here. So with that said, let's dive in and get started here. Okay, so I'm in my test email box, and I've already gone through the invisible flow and signed up to the persona Charlotte Espinoza. So let's go ahead and see the welcome email here. So you can see that this is the test email I used just for testing purposes. I used this alias email here, and that's me pretending to be the real estate agent, just for context there. But you can see that Charlotte's reaching out to me, introducing herself, and the skills I selected, and some information on how to use them. And for today, we're going to focus on this lead recovery specialist skill, so for lost leads here. To start, most of you for this, what you're going to need, first step here is to basically get your CSV file set up so that you can submit it into your persona. We're going to do that simply by emailing the list to the persona at this email here. But there are a few things that we need to do first to make sure that that list is ready to prep here. So at the bottom, you can see that there's this document here called minimum required info. If we pull that up real fast here, I can give you just a quick overview of what columns it's expecting to be on the file that you're submitting in for your lost leads here. All right, so here's our exported demo template here. So you can see we're going to need a first name column, a last name column, an email column, a phone column, a client's note column, and a company name column. I'll get into some of these specifics later. If you have leads where you're missing something like a phone number, you still can add them in here. Really the ones for this campaign that'll be absolutely required to make them launch will be the email and then the first name, last name there. So let's go ahead and pull up a more realistic what might an export file look like, and then we'll kind of go over best practices there on how to actually get it up and rolling. All right, so I had ChatGPT make me up just some fake information here. You can see in the email column, I did go ahead and make all the emails test emails for myself, so that those should come to me once we actually run our test here. The rest of this, hopefully, it'll look a little bit like what an export from your CRM might look like. You can see we've got multiple email and phone columns. We've got information on their current home. We've got some household net worth, credit info, and then just some contact notes back here as well. So with that said, let's kind of start thinking about our columns now. So first name, last name are fine, just like they are here. All good there. And then now for our second one, we know we're looking for an email column. Right now we've got these two. We will want to change one to just being plain email. Same with phone. And then we also will need our client notes, which if we've got one that has notes in it, we can just change that title, as well as we'll need our company name here. So before we change any of that, though, I want to show you kind of how our system handles it if you send in ones without those fields, just so you can kind of see how our personas kind of try to help you to make sure you're submitting the right files here. So I won't change anything yet, and we'll submit this one as is. So we're going to come here and we're going to compose an email. When you are composing, you can see that I signed up with this Mark II plus 203. For you, this probably won't be as big of an issue, but just we want to make sure that you're sending from the same email you signed up with. Okay, so we've got that email in there. Let's go ahead and take the Perceptor email. This is the persona's email that's ready to accept the lost leads. So we're going to go ahead and send them into that one there. We'll just say that we've got new lost leads to add and add attached. And this is where I'm going to submit that file that's kind of acting as my CRM export file here. All right, we've got our file attached, so let's go ahead and send that off now. All right, and we got our response back from Charlotte. Let's see what she says here. So she's saying that we were unable to process our recent submission and that we're missing some column names. So as I showed in the required fields, we're missing basically these exact names in there. So it's basically telling me to check my file and resubmit here. So let's pull that file back up and see what we can do here. So all right, first things first, I've got my email column and I know that this is the one I'm going to do. I'm simply going to remove that so it just says plain email there. Then the system and the persona knows that this is for sure the column that it wants to use for the emails lead there. So that one fixed that there. Phone is going to be the exact same way. We're going to go ahead and just change this to a simple phone. And one thing I'd like to kind of point out a few times here, make sure you're saving it after you make any changes on these files. We've seen a lot of people that will make the changes and then try to submit without saving, which is going to cause you some problems there. So we'll keep going here, though. So we've got our email and phone. Our next one was client notes. So in this fake one I have a other column here that is client notes, but it's labeled different. For something like this, we can just simply change this column name here. Make sure you're spelling it right. Okay. And then last one that we needed, again, we'll go back and check our welcome email here. So I needed email, that's good. Phone's now good. Client notes is good now. And we need company name. All right. All right, so here's our sheet again. And we're going to add company name there. So quick caveat on this one here. Let me quickly just wrap these. Okay, so you can see in my company name column, it is just entirely blank right now. This company name is your company name is the real estate agent. So for me, this would be the Mark 203 Real Estate Agency. This obviously would be your name here. You can allow this to be blank. If you do allow it to be blank, it's going to pull from the onboarding field where you signed up for your persona here. So let me just quickly open that up and I'll show you what we're talking about. All right, so I hop back into my original welcome email for Charlotte, and we're going to go to account info here. All right. Now that we're in here, this is just my onboarding details, and you can see how on the company name I have this Mark Lead Recovery Specialist demo. This is basically going to automatically fill into my company name column here if I leave it blank. So if you've signed up and you like your company name, how it's looking here, you can simply add this last column and always leave this blank. We leave this like this for if you are in some instances maybe managing 2 different brokerages or 2 different companies, or for some reason you need them to come from 2 different organizations, you can put that organization name here in these columns. And then for these specific leads, whenever they're in the campaign, the persona will use this to reference your company name instead of the default, which will be the company name you signed up with. So just real quick caveat on the company name and filling that out in the CSV file to submit. So let's go back, and now that we've got that, we'll just leave ours blank. We've got our client notes in there. We've got our email columns fixed. Again, make sure you save this before you submit it back to your persona. We've got it submitted, and let's go back, and then we're going to do the same thing here. So we're going to resubmit this file to Charlotte Espinoza at this email here now. Again, make sure you use the email that you signed up to your persona with. Copy and paste that in. More new lost leads. Add attached. All right. And we're going to add these and submit it off here. All right. We'll give it just a second for that email to show back up. All right, so got another notice back from Charlotte. Let's see what she's telling me here now. So thank you for your submission. Now processed successfully. And it's now telling me that I've got 10 records processed and going out into the campaign there. So that's good news. That's what we were expecting after our updates to that CSV file that we submitted. So good news there. So that's kind of wrapping up here what I wanted to show in part 1 of this. Part 2 of the lead recovery specialist videos that I'm going to make is going to be more about actually following your conversations, managing your clients that are in, as well as accessing your portal. So check out part 2 for that if you're looking for that on the lead recovery specialist. But hopefully this was a good overview showing you exactly how to get in, prep a file, and then submit that to your persona, how they're going to respond back to you, and then how they're going to basically start engaging those leads in conversations. And like I said, check out part 2 for monitoring those conversations and keeping track of your handovers as well as accepting those.